Okay, so this video is looking at the conversion of fractions, decimals, and percentages. This seems to be one that a lot of people struggle with, so I'll try and explain a couple of different ways to do this or to do these calculations. Some of them you should just know, but I understand that it's easy for me to say that as a maths teacher, and I do just know them. But for some of you, this is a real struggle and something that we definitely have to really explain. So let's start looking at this first one. So fraction 1/2. Some of you are straight away going to go, duh, that's so obvious, it's 0.5 and 50%. You're right, it is, but why? And how do we work that out? So remember that when we're getting to decimals, that each of our decimals, we have our place value system. So after our decimal place, we have our tenths, hundredths, thousandths, etc. All right? So remember that these are parts of 10 or parts of 100. Remember also percentages. Percentage literally means, you can see, part of 100. 100. All right, so how many parts of 100 is what a percentage means. So if we've got 1/2, for example, to work out our decimal and our percentage, we need to work out, well, how many parts of 100 is it? So the first thing we need to do is look at turning our denominator, so our number on the bottom. It's really easy if we can turn that into a 100, okay? So we can do that easily on this one as it happens, because we can multiply that by 50. But you know that with fractions, whatever we do to the denominator, we also have to do to the numerator. So what we end up here with is 50 over 100. Now that's not our fraction answer, because our fraction answer was kindly already filled in for us. But this does help us answer the other bits, okay? How do we know that? Well, because our decimal is 0. How many parts have we got? 5. 5/10. If you put another 0 there, you're not going to get it wrong either. We've also got a percentage, parts of 100. How many parts of 100 do we have? We have 50 parts of 100. Okay? Right, this time we've got it a bit backwards, I guess. So we still do the same process though. So we have to remember, let's turn this into a fraction. So what this actually is 6 parts of 10. Because if we look back at our place value columns, we know that 6th is in the tenths. But what that also means is that if we add a 0 to each there, it gives us 60 parts of 100. 60 parts of 100 makes it 60%. Okay? And we've also said fraction. So we can go 6 over 10. But if we wanted to really do well and get the best marks possible, the thing to do there would be to simplify it. Both of those numbers are even. So if we divide both of those by 2, we will end up with that. Okie doke? So our next one. Oh, I got myself confused for a second there because I changed pen colors. Okay, so our next one is giving us 30%. So it's already telling us that it's 30 parts of 100. So straight over here, we can go, okay, 30 parts of 100. But because you guys are super clever and you know that needs to be simplified, with this one, you can just drop off 1 0 each. And it becomes 3 over 10. All right, if we've got 3/10, that must mean that our decimal is 0. What's in our tenths column? 3. Okay? All right. Next one, bit trickier this one, 0.123. So this time what we have to work out is what's going to be our denominator, because this time we've got tenths, then we've got hundredths, but then we've actually got thousandths. Okay, so this one isn't quite as straightforward. So this fraction instead is 123 over 1,000. Okay, so I beg my pardon, it is 123 parts of 1,000. So how do we work that out to be a percentage? Well, that, if we've got 0.123 here, all we need to do is actually multiply that by 100. And what that does is it moves our numbers in the place value system. So you will have heard me and probably your primary school teachers naughtily say that we move our decimal place. That's not really what happens. It's the numbers that move across. But for ease of explanation, sometimes we say that. So what it means is all of these numbers move 2 places across because we've got 2 zeros there, becoming 12.3, which means we have 12.3%. So that is how we operate between fractions, decimals, and percentages. Okay, I hope that helps.